up. If you with it, drop it.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Deep Dive.
Good to be back.
So this is our second deep dive together, and today we're really plunging into something quite ancient. We're looking at the traditions of the Buhera region in Zimbabwe.
Specifically, the Njuzu. It's a really significant water spirit in Shona culture there.
Exactly. And our sources for this are excerpts from Echoes of Buhera, specifically Episode 2, which is titled Njuzu, Whispers Beneath the Water.
Yeah, and it's fascinating stuff. It gives us a real window into, not just old myths, but a living belief system.
It really does. And it immediately sets up this contrast, doesn't it? How outsiders might see a river.
Just water, a geographical feature.
Right. But in Buhera, it's completely different. Rivers are seen as alive. They're called watchers, sometimes teachers.
And sometimes, quite powerfully, takers. That really grabs you.
It does. It shifts your perspective immediately. What we might just see as, H2O flowing, they see as imbued with spirit, with power.
And that difference in perception is kind of the core of what we're exploring today, I think. Layers of meaning we might just walk right past.
Absolutely. And central to that is the Njuzu. The source materials sort of introduce it as a mermaid of sorts.
Which is helpful as maybe a starting point for us.
But it's clear pretty quickly that's, quite superficial. The Njuzu is much more complex, much more powerful than that simple image suggests.
Definitely. The texts mention specific places too, like sacred rivers, pools. The Chidzikisa River in Buhera comes up specifically.
So these aren't just random bodies of water. They're specific, charged locations, homes for the spirit.
Precisely. And the way the Njuzu appears, it's not fixed either.
No, sometimes it's that more familiar image, half woman, half fish.
But other times, it's described as more of a pure spirit, maybe only seen in dreams or, connected to these disappearances we'll get into.
That fluidity is really interesting. It suggests something not quite bound by our normal physical rules, maybe.
Could be. Or perhaps different forms for different kinds of interactions, different purposes.
Okay, let's get into those interactions. The sources really emphasize that the Njuzu chooses certain people, often people with a gift. What do you think is behind that? The idea of being chosen?
Well, it implies intention, doesn't it? Not just a random event. Like the spirit world is actively looking, identifying specific individuals. It speaks to a worldview where spirits are directly involved in people's lives.
And these events, the taking, they happen so suddenly. People just doing everyday things by the river.
Fetching water, maybe kids playing.
And then gone, just like that. It creates a sense of, unpredictable power residing right there in the water.
That suddenness really hammers home the power they attribute to the Njuzu and how thin that veil feels between their everyday world and the spiritual or mystical.
What really jumped out at me was the community's specific response when someone is taken.
Yes.
The silence, exactly. And then the singing, the drumming, the offerings, like snuff and beer. Very prescribed actions.
It tells you so much about how they understand it. This isn't treated like, say, an accidental drowning.
No, not at all.
It's framed as an encounter with a powerful entity. And their actions are about communication, maybe appeasement, trying to ensure a safe return.
And the source draws a really sharp line here, doesn't it? If there's panic, crying, screaming, cursing the river,
then the person is lost, gone for good. That's a huge consequence tied directly to how the community reacts.
It suggests that maintaining respect, maybe even the kind of calm acceptance in the face of this mystery, is crucial. Panic breaks that connection.
That seems to be the belief, yes. Hysteria might be seen as disrespectful or maybe just inappropriate for dealing with the sacred. It severs the link.
Okay, but what about those who do come back? They're called Vapira Njuzu, initiated by the water.
And they're changed, completely transformed. They often become healers.
Dreamers, spirit mediums, their whole role in the community shifts.
Yeah, it suggests the Njuzu's purpose isn't just about taking away. It's also about maybe awakening something, bestowing abilities.
Like the taking itself is a form of initiation. A difficult one, clearly, but one that redirects their whole life.
Exactly. A spiritual calling, perhaps, triggered by this encounter.
There's a story in the source material in Ndakaite that really illustrates this.
Ah, yes, the quiet girl.
Taken by the Chidzikisa River. And that detail about her pot just left there unattended. It's so vivid.
It makes it very real. And then the village, they follow the protocol, singing, drumming.
for 3 whole nights. That shows incredible patience and faith in their traditions.
A real demonstration of collective belief, communal action.
And then on the 4th morning, she reappears.
But she's different.
Very different. The source describes this deep silence about her and her eyes, like they'd seen something.
That phrase really sticks with you. It paints a picture of someone who has been somewhere else, experienced something beyond normal reality.
And she becomes a healer afterwards. But it also says she never quite returned to her old self.
Which makes sense, right? If you've had that kind of profound spiritual encounter, it would leave a permanent mark, a connection maybe.
It really underlines the transformative aspect. Now, contrast that with the other story, Tawanda.
Right, the cautionary tale.
He mocks Ndekaite's story, mocks the Njuzu itself.
And then commits that act of, well, profound disrespect.
Yeah.
Urinating in the sacred river at night.
A clear violation, and the consequence is swift.
Gone by morning, vanished.
And the community's reaction, or lack thereof, is striking compared to Ndekaite.
Totally different. No singing, no drumming, no ritual attempt to bring him back.
It's silence. And that image of the rock nearby, shaped like a kneeling man.
A permanent, silent reminder. It speaks volumes, doesn't it? The lack of ritual says the community judged his actions. Disrespect has irreversible consequences.
So, looking at these two stories side by side, we start to see the potential reasons behind why the Njuzu might take someone.
On one hand, maybe identifying and nurturing, almost, those with spiritual gifts like Ndekaite.
A kind of calling or initiation, as we said.
But Tawanda's story shows the other side.
Punishment. Specifically for pride, arrogance, disrespect towards the sacred, toward the river itself.
So the Njuzu acts as a guardian, too, enforcing respect.
It highlights this dual nature, really. Nurturing and punitive, healing and humbling.
It's complex. It reinforces that these natural elements, like rivers, aren't just passive things in their worldview. They're living forces that demand respect.
And the source is very clear for the people of Buhera. This isn't just folklore.
Not at all. The Njuzu is presented as a very real, active force shaping their lives, their understanding of the world, their social rules.
It's a cornerstone of their spiritual reality, you could say.
Absolutely. It embodies both that potential for receiving gifts, for healing,
and the absolute need for humility, for respecting boundaries.
Exactly. A powerful balance represented in this one figure. It's a potent reminder about the power they see in nature.
You know, thinking about all this, it really makes you reconsider our own relationship with rivers.
It really does. We tend to see them so functionally, don't we?
Yeah, sources of water, ways to transport things, maybe places to swim or fish, utilitarian.
And this deep dive just opens up this completely different way of seeing. It shows how profoundly different cultural understandings can be, and there's so much value in exploring that.
I love that idea from the source about rivers holding memories and carrying footsteps.
It's beautiful, isn't it? It suggests such a deep connection, history woven right into the landscape, into the water itself.
It makes you think about the unseen layers, the stories a place holds, even if we don't immediately perceive them.
And as the source says, the people of Buhera don't take water lightly.
Clearly not. Their understanding of the Njuzu fosters this deep reverence.
And maybe that offers us something too, you know? A perspective on a more mindful, interconnected way of being with the environment. Recognizing forces or presences that maybe deserve our consideration.
So wrapping this up, we're kind of left with this image. These ancient watchful eyes looking up from beneath the water, even at what looks like just an ordinary river.
It's a compelling image. It encourages a deeper look, doesn't it? A reminder that there's often more going on than meets the eye, and other perspectives can really enrich our own understanding.
Well, thank you for joining us again for this deep dive, exploring the Njuzu and the lore of Buhera. It's just a fascinating example of how stories reveal such deep truths about worldviews.
Absolutely. We hope it sparked some thoughts for you, maybe shifted your perspective a little on water, belief, and tradition.
We'd genuinely love to hear from you on this. Do you have similar stories or beliefs about water spirits from your own culture or experience? Let us know in the comments.
Yeah, please share. Your insights always add so much to the conversation.
Okay, until our next deep dive then. Stay rooted, but keep listening for those whispers from the past.